Hello, my friend. This is Roland from C2Keep, and I'm super excited to talk to you about this new feature that we've rolled out, which I believe is probably the second most requested feature we've had. And that is the ability to track inventory and inventory activities in different locations. I'm really excited about this. In the settings page, you're going to see inventory locations now, which you can activate by entering your PIN. As soon as you turn it on, you're going to have two locations that are activated by default, your primary inventory locations, as well as your damaged and expired inventory locations. With the damaged and expired inventory locations, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you record a damaged or expired activity, that inventory will now move into that location. It won't be available for you to dispense, but it would be available for you to record other transactions with it, including selling back to a reverse distributor or maybe destroying it. You can add as many locations as you want. You can see here we have a Parada Max location, a specific location for some Percocet, and as well as a consignment location. You can also have 340B if you're a long-term care pharmacy with lock boxes or emergency boxes that you have controlled substance in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. You can add those locations as well, move inventory into those lock boxes or locations virtually within C2Keep, and then dispense from there as patients receive inventory from their locations when the time calls for it. Now on the dashboard, the way the system changes when you activate a locations feature is we will add locations throughout the system as a filterable, item. So you can view activity records within specific locations. Also, we're going to have a brand new activity record that you can record, and that's the move inventory. And so this would be a case where you're moving inventory from one location to another one. You can quickly tell us how much you're moving, and you can add notes to explain why. So a classic case would be moving inventory from your primary location to, Parada Max, or maybe a lockbox that you're going to send as part of an emergency kit into a nursing home. Hit move and enter your PIN, and we will record those transactions for you. Another interesting thing to note is when you are recording transactions for basically anything, you will also want to identify what location the inventory is coming from. Whether you are using an integrated pharmacy management system to record your dispenses, or if you're doing it manually in this case, you still will need to identify where that inventory is coming from, because we are now tracking specifically that way. Same if you add a split fill NDC, always need to identify the location. The same is true when you're receiving inventory, even if you're doing it manually. As soon as you pick the NDC, you're going to tell us where you're receiving it to. And in a case where you're receiving manually, of course, don't forget you can always enter the order details. The same is true if you're receiving inventory from an EDI integrated wholesaler. You would want to tell us essentially where that order is coming from. And so in a case like this one doesn't have any NDCs, but you'd be able to pick what location you're receiving that inventory into, adjust your date and time, and then add that inventory into that location. You can do the same in the bulk add feature. When you add an inventory item, pick what location that's going to. You have a little bit more flexibility here than you do with an integrated EDI order. One thing that's interesting is your reporting is all going to change when you activate the locations feature, including auditing. Let's talk about audits quickly. So you can create audits and you can specify which locations you want to audit drugs from, of course. And then when you're running reports, basically all reports, I believe, except the NDC purchase report, maybe even that one will show you. Yeah, it does. Will show you what locations you received inventory into. Like I just most recently received inventory into my consignment location, and this was an order that came from an EDI integrated wholesaler. And so there you go. But when you're running all kinds of reports, we will be able to filter out by locations and then show you how much of each NDC is in that location and your total on hands. The same is true on the inventory page. Right here, you can see this morphine. We have it in 2 locations. And so we have this new column that shows you how much you have in all locations. Sorry, I clicked there and filtered. But if we go this way, let's use auto, let's use this ambient, for example. So you can see I have 100 in all locations, which I have all of them selected here. But as I filter out different locations, I can tell within these 3 locations, I only have 14 pills. If I want even more details, I can click into that specific NDC and then filter by locations and look at the transaction that have been recorded in this particular location. So when inventory was moved in there, and then a few audits and what the audit details were, and I can click in to see that. If I add the per item max location, I can also see the transactions from that location and what my total on hand is in these 2 locations versus what I have throughout my pharmacy. And so right there in a nutshell is one feature we're very, very excited for. We know this will only enhance your ability to track your controlled substances. Yeah, we're excited you asked for it, and we're even more excited that we are able to deliver. Thank you.